It is 8:30. I'd like to call the Brookings County Commission meeting to order with the Pledge of Allegiance. Good morning. Invitation for a citizen to schedule time on a commission agenda for an item not listed. Is there anybody that would like to schedule time? Hearing none, move down to number 4, approval of the agenda. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any additions, corrections? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Agenda approved. Consent agenda items. Have approval of the minutes, approval of the travel requests, approval of personal action notices, approval of cellular authorizations, and approval of the human services report. Do I have a motion to approve?
Move approval.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any additions, corrections here? Hearing none, call a roll.
Pierce.
Aye.
Bartley.
Aye.
Krogman.
Aye.
Boersma. Aye. Jensen.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Routine business. Approval of claims. I have a motion approved.
So moved.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any additions here? Hearing none, call the roll, please.
Bartley.
Aye.
Krogman.
Aye.
Boersma. Aye. Pierce.
Aye.
Jensen.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Okay, item B, recognition of employees' anniversaries. Commissioner Boersma would present these.
I know that we have everybody even here.
Is there any?
On vacation.
Real punctual. Do we want to circle back to see if people
We'll
are
see if they come.
here?
Department head reports. Start with Brian.
Michelle's not even up here. Okay.
Apologize for not getting my report onto the agenda, but we did have a few busy weeks there. So I guess, Stacy, if you could pull up that pickup that I had.
Is your mic on?
I think so.
There.
Oh, it's on for later. I guess I was just going to kind of explain that a little bit. I reached out to the... It's on?
It's just real close.
Got to talk a little closer than usual, apparently. But I did reach out to the awards, or the suppliers that were awarded the bids for the state contracts. And later on in the meeting, you're going to see that I reached out in town here to get a price for that Silverado. The awards for the state contracts, they couldn't fulfill, so they couldn't give me a price. Because apparently they were backlogged from last year, and they couldn't even give me a price for a 2021 pickup because the factories were full. So that's why the pickup that we'd be looking at later on here in the meeting is going to be a 2022. But that being covered, we can talk about that later on. I can go into that a little more detail if you'd like. Week of June 14th through the 18th. Last time we talked, we were working on a box culvert south of Olga. We had that opened on Friday the 18th. We also micro-surfacing County Roads 1 and 2, and then the shoulders we in the town of Aurora on 23 was micro-surfaced, and we also worked on the Brookings County 27, putting gravel down. Week of the 21st through the 25th, we had a bridge closed south of town on 213th Street. We replaced the pile cap. The beams were rotted out or broke, and we didn't actually replace the bridge. We just replaced the pile cap, and that involved lifting the existing bridge deck off and replacing that pile cap, and then setting the existing bridge back in its same spot, and then regrouting everything back together. And we had that opened up that week, and then We cleaned up the remaining backfill around the box culvert south of Volga, and then continued graveling on Brookings County 27. Week of the 28th through the 2nd, Holloway was working on another bridge south of town where it involved lifting the bridge deck off, and we straightened one of the end walls on a bridge that is going to be used for the detour when we close down 12 south of town here. And we also placed riprap on the east head wall while we had that bridge deck off. And we asphalt patched over the removal areas at the box culvert south of Volga. And then replaced culvert on Brookings County 29 up by Hendricks on Wednesday. And then we were also working on County Road 8, 46, 27, and 23 shoulders. So we had quite a bit going on that week. And then Bruce Bridge update. Regrading and riprap are completed. Asphalt's completed. Guardrail was being worked on yesterday and today. Hopefully finish up today. Be striping and signing tomorrow, and then finish grading later on this week. And then the USGS is going to install their gauging station that's located on that bridge. And I had asked them to place the box on the east side, not on the west side, so it's not a snow trap. And then we're probably hopefully looking at opening that bridge probably Thursday or Friday. So things are moving along there. This week we're working on continuing to gravel on 27 and another couple of culverts. So we've been staying pretty busy.
Any questions? You.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Lori?
Nothing at this time, thanks.
Bob?
Good morning. Last week had been canceled by FEMA themselves. On the 30th, I had a meeting with Banner's Associate, the Corps of Engineers, and we was only 3 people there, discussing the Big Sioux diversion structure project. And the big thing right now, of course, they did receive the funding to finish up the initial report, feasibility study. And now we are just waiting for some more information to come back from the Natural Conservation Resource Service at the federal level. Once we get all that information back, then they'll start rolling again, and we'll have them come in here and give a briefing. On July 1st, the Office of Emergency Management and Peer, the director, Tina Titsi, came by for an office visit. Main things that we discussed was our points of dispensing that we did, and our COVID-19 status, and the local emergency management performance grant, and the criteria. And she said we're doing a good job out here. They don't worry too much about Brookings County because we get our reports in on time, and usually they're accurate. Today we've got a Office of Emergency Management quarterly communications drill. On Thursday there's a PPCC pod meeting over at the East Fire Station. You need to RSVP by the end of the day if you plan on going to that. And on next Monday, there's an Area Radio Relay League Radio Club. I'm going to have Richard attend that meeting. We're going to take ID card photos so we can get them fancy ID cards. Like their identification cards have all expired, so we have to renew their identification cards. So he's going to come in and take those photos, and that's all for this week, this period. Any questions?
When did you say the PPC meeting was?
Thursday at 12 o'clock over at the East Fire Station next to Burger King. Thank you.
Okay, Dustin?
I'll start with my attendance from June 15th. In the gun range, we had 98. Archery range, we had 36. This is up from last year. That's not saying much due to COVID and everything, but it's good to see more members, different faces in the range. The events we held were we had a blood drive, and Big Sue Bowman had a meeting on June 16th. 4-H dog practice. Continue to practice every Thursday night. On June 21st, we held a little dinner for all the volunteers. They appreciated that. It went very well. We had about 40 people show up. June 23rd, we had a group of 7 kids come over from Elkton Park and Rec, and they shot a little archery. They enjoyed it. 4-H, they started their skill-a-thon. They've met 3 times, and I think they have a few more scheduled. The 24th, we had an East Central South Dakota Realtors Association meeting in the archery range. Midwest Maidens practiced again on June 25th. June 26th, we had a group of about 40 kids come in from SDSU Upbound, and they did some archery, and then they played archery tag. June 28th, we had our monthly BCOIC board meeting. 28th, we also had an enhanced renewal class. On the 30th of June, Child Protective Services, they had an appreciation dinner in the archery range with about 30 people. We were closed this weekend for the 3rd, the 4th, and the 5th. Train has installed the new sensor in the classroom. Everything seems to be working properly now. We got the humidity taken care of, and in the winter time, it doesn't short cycle itself out, so the heating's taken care of. Just wanted to let you guys know the dynamic filters, they're still on back order for the gun range. I asked them if we don't get them installed this year, what's going to happen, because with our service agreement, we paid for that up front, and they said next year we'll take that off the bill. I don't know if they're sitting on a ship somewhere or where they're at, but they haven't seen them yet. And then I presented my plan for kind of capital improvements to the board with some spray foam, new lighting, and a new door in the gun range. That working on kind of some proposals, and present that to the board and then bring it to you guys. That's all I had, unless you guys had any questions.
Any questions?
Thanks.
At this time, we'll go back to recognition of employees' anniversaries. Angie Boersma will present.
We'll just do one this morning since Reed's the only one that's here. And we'll do Tanya and Heather next time potentially. Otherwise, I can present them. Depends. We'll see.
I think they can come for the next
Okay,
meeting. So
perfect.
we'll just recognize them at the next meeting.
So this morning, this 6th day of July 2021, the certificate of appreciation is presented to Reed Squires for his 5 years of dedicated exceptional service to Brookings County Department of Equalization. Thanks, Reed.
You go back to department head reports. Misty, would you like to come forward?
Good morning.
Morning.
I'll be real short with county roads, spraying for weeds, and townships. We've got everybody completed. Now I get to do the paperwork and send out bills. Also, you will see the guys out either mowing or spot treating. If there's another round of thistles coming up, that's just, we can hit it with a 10-gallon or 5-gallon spray bottle. We'll do that. So if you see them out there doing that, they're doing what they need to do. We're going to try and stay away from the mowing, being it's so dry. Everybody's haying the ditches. Unless we have to mow that patch, we will. So if you have anybody asking you, that's kind of what we're going to do. Brian had mentioned County Road 8, 26, 27. There's a couple other roads that were shouldered. I will have one truck go and just solid spray that gravel, that just the edge of the road where they put the gravel, so we can keep the weeds down right on the edge of the road. And stay ahead of the game is our goal. And just the gravel. They're not going to go out into the right-of-way, just where the gravel is showing. And we did the same last year, and it seemed to work. There is some weeds coming back. And then the fresh stuff they just did. So we'll be working on that too. So if you see a truck out there spraying the shoulder of the road, that's what they're doing. And I also just received this, and I'm sorry it's on email, but the 2021 pesticide container recycling dates. Stacy, I emailed it to you, but I don't know if you can pull that up. I just did it within the last 10 minutes. Brookings is going to have a container recycling collection at the landfill July 29th from 8 to noon. And then, oh, thank you. It's way better to see it on there. And that's everywhere in South Dakota that the State Department Ag is going to come and collect containers. And in order for them to collect them, you need to rinse them out 3 times. The caps have to be off, the labels have to be off. Because they'll just put them in a big grinder and grind it up, and then they reuse that, the containers, or the plastic, I guess I should say. Otherwise, I do not have anything. Do you have any questions for me?
All right, thank you.
Thanks.
David.
Good morning.
Morning.
Just a few things, I think, from our fireworks through the weekend. We only had 2 complaints out in the county areas. There was 2 grass fires that fireworks were suspected of starting, but those were extinguished pretty quickly, so there wasn't, a lot of damage done there. Jail this morning, I checked, we had 30 inmates in, so we're doing pretty well there. And although we do have 2 more female inmates that'll be coming into the facility today, we're going to go to Fargo and Moorhead, North Dakota, to pick up on felony warrants. So the jail build is coming along quite well. We're still on track with our end date in September. So everything is moving along quite well there. There is sometimes up to 7, 8 different things going on daily in the side of the facility right now of getting things rolling. So see a lot of different things happening pretty quick, I think, through this month. That's all I've got.
Any questions about it? No.
Okay.
Thanks, bud.
Thanks.
We got a few minutes. Move on to regular business. Action to approve resolution number 21-27, a resolution authorizing the purchase of bridge construction labor established through the Yankton County, South Dakota bid process. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Comments?
Just attaining an annual bid for Holloway to do some of the repair work we've been having done.
Okay. Any questions? Hear none, call the roll, please.
Krogman?
Aye.
Boersma?
Aye.
Pierce?
Aye.
Bartley?
Aye.
Jensen?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Item B, action approve agreement number 21-84, an amendment to agreement number 18-84 of the East Central Regional Communication Council Joint Powers Agreement. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any comments?
Could somebody tell us what this read before the amendments?
If I'm
That
not-
was included in your packet, the original agreement. Is right here, this item number 6.
Right.
So the 2 county positions read the chair and the vice chair. Now it reads the chair, that's the same, and then
The sheriff's
the
office
sheriff's
liaison.
liaison, or basically an authorized representative or an alternate to that.
Why'd we go away from the chair and the vice chair?
I think the goal was to keep the language parallel to, so the city's portion changed from mayor and city manager as their 2 representatives to the city manager and a representative from the police department, or whatever version of a council member authorized as a representative of the PD, and then the sheriff's office or an authorized representative of the sheriff's department. In our case, because Larry is both of those, the or approved authorized representative can be the vice chair. It's just not laid out as chair, vice chair as mandatory. It provides a little bit more flexibility because that authorized representative, in the absence of me or Larry, could be Bart for a meeting if we needed to.
Or
I
it
think the
could be
attempt-
Marty.
Right.
Right.
I want to say, and I understand that, but I like the way we did ours better. And the reason for that is when I was vice chair and sat on that, then by the time I got to be chair, because our chair is the chair of the E911, I had already had a year's experience on that board and had an idea of what I was supposed to be doing. So it's kind of like a training thing. And somebody my recollection is we always had somebody from our sheriff's office that was there. Aren't they a member that's just a non-voting member?
They're not
Because there was always, Marty was at every meeting I was at. So the sheriff was. And I understand the thought behind the parallel, but that's maybe not best for our form of government in that it works. If we do our chair and our vice chair, it doesn't matter who is the liaison to the sheriff's office, which I think there might often be the issue we got. And I understand we can appoint a designated person. I get that. But I really like the idea of the vice chair being on the E911 board so that next year when they're the chair of the board, they have a whole year of experience with it, because that only meets, what, quarterly? Doesn't meet very often. And they'll know what's going on. That's just my thoughts on that.
Under this agreement, are we still the chair every year? Okay, that didn't change.
No.
So out of curiosity, the way that it's written as a more open language, even if in practice we still do chair and vice chair, whether it's written this way or not, at least it's not, I mean, I prefer a little bit more open language than mandated, because we're tying ourselves to a situation that may or may not actually work all the time. And so in my opinion, it's probably more feasible to practice the chair, vice chair as kind of common practice without necessarily defining it in the joint powers agreement that way. Because we're allowed to do, or authorized representative is pretty open.
Just makes it more confusing for those that come after us to know what our thoughts were if we don't have it in the agreement.
But in theory, you're not the vice chair the first day you walk into office, and you've got time for predecessors to kind of keep that institutional memory alive. And even if in our committee assignment document, it specifically says chair and vice chair as our common practice, because we use that same Excel spreadsheet every year, it doesn't force the joint powers agreement to also say chair and vice chair if for some extenuating circumstance it doesn't make sense.
It had something to do with who's using the radios too. The sheriff's office is using the radios, and that way, if you have that liaison to that department, you kind of have a handle on knowing what's problems and stuff are too. So,
In the absence of the chairperson from the county commission being in attendance, who runs the meeting? The vice chair of the county or a county representative? I could see there could be some difficulty if it's the county representative and they have no idea, but running a meeting's running a meeting. I mean, it can be handled by any one of us in that regard. I don't know if it addresses it in this document anywhere at all, that it's the county's the chair, whether it's the chair or the vice chair or its representative.
I guess I'm fine.
I don't think it directly spells that out in the original agreement even.
I just think we've got something that works really well and we haven't had any issues. And I don't think we need to change what we're doing. I like the or designated alternate. I like that. Okay, that works out well, but we don't need to change ours just because the city did to kind of be in line with their format, because that's not what works best for us, and we have a different situation since we chair that committee.
Any other thoughts?
I guess I would say I agree with your thoughts on that too, because it was good for me to be on that when I was vice chair there too. And I think that's a smart way to prepare ourselves to do that. But I think that can be accomplished with the changes that we have here too. I guess I don't have a problem with the change, but I understand where you're coming from. People down the road may not understand that either. But you know, I guess I'm okay with the change. I vote for it, but I do understand where you're coming from.
Anything else?
I would say if folks are generally okay with this, then our workload committee assignment thing should still say vice chair, so that in practice, that's still how we're functioning. But I think it gives the opportunity for us to have a voting member who is not the vice chair, because if the only voting members, if there's no opportunity for authorized representative, then we just don't have quorum.
And we can leave the authorized representative in there. I mean, that designated representative, that language is great. Or authorized representative. Or
So what your preference would be for it to say the
number one, the chairperson of the Brookings County Board of Commissioners or their authorized representative, the vice president, vice chair, whatever we're calling that position, of the Brookings County Board of County Commissioners or their authorized representative.
And take out liaison to the sheriff's department then?
Mm-hmm. But the sheriff or somebody from the sheriff's office always comes. They're there. They just can't vote and they can't chair the committee. That is the problem. And sometimes our chair can't be there, and then our vice chair is chairing that meeting. I mean, not to say that the sheriff couldn't, or the sheriff designated representative couldn't, but
So with that modification, I mean,
Can you put it in there, Stacy? Or
we would need an amendment to the motion to
Correct.
approve it as amended.
you want me to make a motion?
I think that makes sense.
I would make a motion to amend Part 6, number 2, to read
Actually, part 6, number 3.
number 3. Oh, excuse me. Okay. Number 3. To read the vice chair person of the Brookings County Board of County Commissioners or their authorized representative.
I'll second that.
have a motion and a second.
Just a question, then, we're not assigning any authority to the sheriff's department at all, unless they are our representative that we authorize.
Right, if our vice chair couldn't be there, or our chair, and they wanted to authorize Marty or Bart or somebody to be there for them, then they can vote.
But under this membership of the Council, the Brookings Police Chief is a member. We don't have that with the sheriff's department.
Not a voting member.
Somewhat concerns me that we don't have an equal standing with the city on that police chief and our sheriff. Just throwing it out there.
I'll be honest, my bigger concern is actually that the voting member is the person making the request for dollars in every case. So it's an inherent conflict of interest.
Yeah, the police chief has never had a vote, and so I'm concerned about that part of it. And this, I'll probably vote for it, but there are things about this that I'm a little concerned about how it actually works as we go down the years. Simply because of that budget request is now coming from the police chief, as you stated, or any of those types of monies that come through there are, I mean, in reality, when I was chair, the police chief ran the meetings until I stepped in and said, no, actually I run the meetings. And then So apparently they had been doing it that way, or he ran the meetings and the budget. The budget was, I mean, every little gum wrapper was in the budget, and we had to review. And I said, present those things, we'll approve it as presented. But to shorten that meeting up, it was anyway a little out of control. They needed somebody other than the police chief running the meeting. So my question is as we look at this, and this is outside the amendment somewhat, but at the same time, our sheriff has no authority in this whatsoever unless we designate him as our authorized representative. And if that's the case and the chair's not there, then he becomes the chair.
I agree with Angie. I see an inherent conflict of interest to have, and I'm confident that the sheriff would be careful of our budget, but that's an inherent conflict of interest. Let's talk about radios, for example, and what we're spending. We're thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars on radios. And every time we change, that's got to be a budgetary decision as opposed to necessarily just what everybody would like to have kind of decision. And that's why you have oversight from somebody that's not in that department. And I guess the city can choose to make the police chief be the person that gets to vote, yes, I'm increasing my budget, or no, I'm not. But I don't think we should follow that. I don't think that's a good choice.
And in the situation where the chair is gone, the vice chair would run the meeting, and the authorized representative could be the sheriff's department person.
And that's where I think makes the biggest difference is the chair and the vice chair portion of it. The city doesn't have that responsibility.
Right.
We do.
Yep.
It's a different form of government.
Yep.
I like the amendment. I think it does make sense, and I think that what separates our responsibility and the city's responsibility is we have to run the meeting. We have to have somebody there to run the meeting, and we have to make that decision where the different form of government that they have allows them to have different people there, not have their council members there or their mayor there. So I think I like the amendment that way, the way it is, and the city can decide who they want in there and go from there.
And I did request that when the agenda is set, or before it is set, to send it to the county for review before it's published. So they'll be doing that now. So.
Did we have a second on the amendment?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, I couldn't remember.
Do I need a roll call on the amendment or voice vote? Do a roll call on the amendment.
Boersma?
Aye.
Pierce?
Aye.
Bartley?
Aye.
Krogman?
Aye.
Jensen?
Aye.
Amendment carries.
Go back to the original resolution. I had a motion and a second. Can you call the roll, please?
Pierce?
Aye.
Bartley?
Aye.
Krogman?
Aye.
Boersma?
Aye.
Jensen?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Okay. It is 9 o'clock. We have a scheduled second reading, public hearing and action to approve ordinance number 21-04, an ordinance establishing the requirements, fees, and regulations for the issuance of alcoholic beverage license within the Brookings County. Stacy, would you read that for me, please?
Brookings County Ordinance 21-04, an ordinance establishing the requirements, fees, and regulations for the issuance of alcoholic beverage licenses within Brookings County. Be it ordained by Brookings County, South Dakota, whereas the Brookings County Board of County Commissioners, hereinafter board, believes that alcoholic beverage licenses are a privilege, not a right, and the county reserves the right to refuse the approval, renewal, or transfer of any license in the event an applicant refuses to comply with the requirements of this ordinance or other applicable local, state, or federal laws. And whereas Brookings County issues multiple types of alcoholic beverage licenses as those terms are defined by SDCL 35-1-1, and that it would be to the benefit of the county to specify by ordinance the requirements, fees, and regulations for certain alcoholic beverage licenses. And therefore be it ordained by Brookings County, South Dakota, that the requirements, fees, and regulations for the issuance of certain alcoholic beverage licenses within the county be adopted as follows. Section A, on sale or off sale liquor license. Availability and notice of new license. By February 1st of each year, the Brookings County Finance Office shall determine the number of on-sale and off-sale liquor licenses available for the ensuing calendar year and report the same to the board. The total number of available on-sale and off-sale liquor licenses in Brookings County is determined by SDCL 35-4-11.1. No off-sale liquor license will be issued to an establishment less than 3 miles from an incorporated municipality. The number of on-sale and off-sale liquor licenses available shall be based upon the population of Brookings County as set forth in South Dakota codified law. If an additional on-sale or off-sale liquor license becomes available in Brookings County, a notice will be published in the legal newspapers of the county for at least 2 consecutive weeks, stating that the board will be accepting applications for the new license and setting a deadline for applications to be submitted. After the deadline is passed, all applications submitted to the finance office shall be submitted to the board for consideration. Application process: the application for an on-sale or off-sale liquor license or the transfer an existing license intending to operate outside the corporate limits of a municipality within Brookings County shall be submitted to the board for approval pursuant to SDCL 35-2-1.2. The application shall be accompanied by the required fee. Applicants shall provide appropriate proof as required by the board that the premises to which the license is being issued or transferred has or shall have within the time period stated below a sufficient structure to which to conduct the operation of an on-sale or off-sale liquor business. Such proof may include, but is not necessarily limited to, pictures inside and outside of any existing structures and plans and specifications of proposed structures, along with proof of ownership or a valid lease of the premises. Under no circumstance will an alcoholic beverage license of any kind be approved or transferred to any premises upon which a zoning ordinance violation has been identified until such time as the premises is brought into full compliance with all applicable provisions of the Brookings County zoning ordinance. An on-sale or off-sale liquor license shall not be issued or transferred to any premises or parcel of land where there is not an approved structure located. Conditional approval may be given to an applicant, and a license will be held by the county for up to 1 year to allow for the construction and approved structure. The license will then be issued to the applicant upon the completion of such structure. Conditional approval may also be granted if the applicant needs additional time to rezone the premises for compliance with county zoning requirements. If the license has been issued within 1 year due to the applicant failing to comply with this ordinance, the county may, upon request of the applicant, extend the conditional approval for up to 6 additional months if it finds that the delay is not the fault of the applicant. Under no circumstance shall a license be held on conditional approval in excess of 18 months. An application for the transfer of an existing license to a new location or to another person shall comply with the requirements of SDCL 35-2-7. Approval process. The board shall fix the time and place for hearing upon all applications that come before the board. The finance officer shall publish notice once in the legal newspapers of the county after a hearing date has been set. The notice shall be headed Notice of Hearing upon Applications for Sale of Alcoholic Beverages. The notice shall state the time and place when and where such applications will be considered by the board, and shall state that any person interested in the approval or rejection of any such application may appear and be heard. The notice shall be published at least 1 week before the hearing pursuant to SDCL 35-2-5. The time and place stated in the notice, the board shall consider each application and any objection to the application before making its final decision on the application. The board may approve or disapprove the application for an on-sale liquor or off-sale license or the transfer of an existing license, depending on whether the board deems the applicant a suitable person to hold the license and whether the board considers the proposed location suitable pursuant to SDCL 35-2-1.2. License application fees will not be refunded once the license is approved by the board and issued by the state. If the board does not approve an application, it shall endorse on the application the reasons for the denial and return the application and fee to the applicant. No further application may be received from the applicant until the expiration of 1 year from the date of a denied application. However, if the application was denied based on the suitability of the locations for the license, no further application may be received from the applicant until after the expiration of 3 months from the date of the denied application, only if the application is for a different location pursuant to SDCL 35-2-5.1. Renewal process. Applicants for the renewal of an on-sale or off-sale liquor license shall follow the same application process as set forth above. An application for the reissuance of an on-sale or off-sale liquor license may be approved by the board without a hearing unless in the past year the licensee or one or more of the licensee's employees have been subjected to a criminal penalty for violation of the Alcoholic Beverage Control Law, or the license has been suspended pursuant to SDCL 35-2-1.2. The board may not reissue any on-sale or off-sale liquor license issued pursuant to subdivision 35-4-2, subpara 4, 6, or 13 to the same licensee or the licensee's transferee if the license has not been actively used by the applicant during the 2 years preceding the date of the current application pursuant to SDCL 35-2-5.3. The term actively used as defined in SDCL 35-2-5.3 means that the licensed premise was open to the public during regular business hours for the sale and consumption of distilled spirits for at least 60 days during the 2 preceding years. However, the licensed premise is only required to be open 5 days per year if it is open to the public during a special event that has at least 25,000 visitors. No license granted under this title may be reissued until all taxes incurred by the licensee as a result of the operation of the licensed premises, including municipal and state sales and use taxes, unemployment insurance tax, or any other state tax, are paid and or are not delinquent. No license granted under this title may be reissued until all property taxes, which are the liability of the licensee levied on the licensed premises, are paid and are not delinquent. No license granted under this title may be reissued to an Indian tribe operating in Indian country controlled by the Indian tribe, or to an enrolled tribal member operating in Indian country controlled by the enrolled tribal member's tribe, until the Indian tribe or enrolled tribal member remits to the Department of Revenue all use tax incurred by non-members as a result of their operation of the licensed premises, and any other state tax has been remitted or is not delinquent. Section B, other alcoholic beverage licenses. Applicants for any other alcoholic beverage license, excluding on-sale liquor licenses issued by the county, shall follow the requirements as set forth above unless otherwise specified by South Dakota Codified Law or the South Dakota Department of Revenue. Section C, provisions pertaining to all licenses. All alcoholic beverage licenses issued by Brookings County shall be subject to the following provisions. Special event licenses. Applications for special event licenses shall only be received by civic, charitable, educational, fraternal, or veterans organizations, or any licensee licensed pursuant to subdivision 35-4-2, subpar 4, 6, or 16. No fee is required with the application for a special event license. Any license issued pursuant to SDCL 35-4-124 shall be issued for a period of time established within the sole discretion of the board, not to exceed 15 consecutive days. No person or organization may be issued a permit pursuant to SDCL 35-4-124 more than 3 times in any one calendar year. No public hearing was required for the issuance of a license pursuant to this section if the person applying for the license holds an on-sale alcoholic beverage license or a retail malt beverage license in the municipality or county, or holds an operating agreement for a municipal on-sale alcoholic beverage license, and the license is to be used in a publicly owned facility. The licensee must comply with all applicable state laws concerning the consumption of alcoholic beverages as set forth in SDCL Chapter 35-4. Special events licenses may be issued for different alcoholic beverage licenses as specified in SDCL 35-4-124. Time for selling or serving. No on-sale or off-sale licensee licensed under SDCL 35-4-2 may sell, serve, or allow to be consumed on the premises covered by the license alcoholic beverages between the hours of 2 a.m. and 7 a.m. or at any time on Christmas Day pursuant to SDCL 35-4-2.1, except for holders of on-off sale malt beverage licenses and on-off sale wine licenses, which shall be permitted to sell, serve, and allow consumption on the premises covered by the license on Christmas Day. The sale, service, and consumption of alcoholic beverages shall be permitted on Sundays and Memorial Day, except between the hours of 2 a.m. and 7 a.m. pursuant to SDCL 35-4-81. A violation of this section is a Class 2 misdemeanor punishable by up to 30 days imprisonment in the county jail or a $500 fine or both. Consumption on county property. The consumption of alcoholic beverages upon property owned, leased, or rented by Brookings County shall be prohibited unless authorized by this ordinance. Persons who wish to dispense alcoholic beverages upon county property must submit an application to the board, who shall thereafter advise the applicant of the applicable restrictions, locations, or activities permitted for the possession, sale, or consumption of alcoholic beverages applicable to such location and or function. The applicant is thereafter required to post written notice of such restriction in a conspicuous manner at each location where alcoholic beverages are dispensed. Applications to dispense alcoholic beverages in locations under the joint control of the City of Brookings and Brookings County will be reviewed and approved by the Joint Powers Board. A violation of this section is a Class 2 misdemeanor, punishable by up to 30 days imprisonment in the county jail or a $500 fine or both. Section H, miscellaneous. This ordinance shall replace any and all prior ordinances or resolutions adopted by the Brookings County Board of County Commissioners regarding the regulations, requirements, or distribution of alcoholic beverage licenses within the county, except Resolution 1504 establishing the current number of on-sale liquor licenses available for a calendar year. Any provision regarding the requirements, fees, regulations, or distributions of alcoholic beverage licenses not addressed within this ordinance shall be followed pursuant to South Dakota codified law. Adopted the 6th day of July 2021.
Okay. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. At this time, I'd like to open a public hearing. Any proponents would like to speak to this item? Any proponents would like to speak to this item? Hearing none, any opponents would like to speak to this item? Any opponents? Hearing none, I'd like to close the public hearing. And call the roll call, please.
Bartley?
Aye.
Krogman?
Aye.
Boersma?
Aye.
Pierce?
Aye.
Jensen?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Okay, back to regular business. Action to remove agreement number 21-81, a one chart link partner agreement between Brookings County and Sanford from the table. Do I have a motion to remove?
So moved. I moved that we remove it from the table.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Move from the table.
Just to give you an update, there's a few things that I'm discussing with Sanford and just updating that. I'm hopefully we'll have that done here in the next couple weeks for a finalization.
So we need to table this again to 7. Do you think you'll be ready for the next meeting, 7:20? Or do we wait till the first meeting in August?
Let's do the first meeting in August, please.
So I would, yeah.
Need a motion to table.
Move to table till the first meeting in August.
Second.
A motion and a second. Table to the first meeting in August. April or August, what is that? To the August 3rd meeting.
August 3rd meeting.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. It's tabled. Item D, action approved change order number 005 for the Brookings County Detention Center expansion and remodel project in the amount of $20,388. That motion approved.
So moved.
Move approval.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any comments? Stacy?
No, there was, the whole list of items was in the packet for your review. Is some electrical changes. The biggest change was for some added data and electrical data drops for within the jail that were unanticipated. That was the biggest, 16,500 of that. So, so where we are then, it shows on here, we're up with this approval, just under about 90,000 worth of change orders to date. So,
any questions? Hearing none, call the roll.
Krogman?
Aye.
Boersma?
Aye.
Pierce?
Aye.
Bartley?
Aye.
Jensen?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Item E, action to approve a request to purchase a 2022 Chevy Silverado 2500 HD pickup for the Highway Department. I have motion approved.
So moved.
Second.
I have motion and second. Comments?
Well, like I mentioned earlier, I attempted to attain some pricing from the state contract, but was notified by that supplier that they could no longer honor that, as the factories won't let them honor the 2021 pricing.
This was budgeted for 2021 then?
Yeah, I had 45,000 budgeted and you can see that it's just shy of 40.
Okay. Any other comments? Hearing none, call the roll.
Boersma,
Aye.
Pierce,
Aye.
Bartley,
Aye.
Krogman,
Aye.
Jensen.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Item number 5, action approve the closure of 6th Avenue between 3rd Street and 4th Street from 5:30 p.m. to 9 p.m. on Tuesday, July 20th for the Brookings Public Library Pet Parade. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any comments?
This is the same street where the farmer's market is held on Saturday, just out front of the courthouse. And then I did visit with Jenny Hamrich, the court administrator, and she doesn't have any issues with this. It's after hours on a weeknight.
Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Item G, action approve request to fill vacancy for a full-time female correctional officer internal posting. Motion to approve.
So move.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Comments? Already have any comments?
Or this was just due to a resignation, this position.
Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Item H, action to approve a request to fill vacancy for 3 full-time correctional officers. Have a motion approved.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any comments?
These are the new positions that will come online when the jail expansion opens this fall.
Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Item I, action to declare items as surplus property to be sold via online auction, destroyed or transferred. Have motion approved.
So move.
Second.
Any other comments?
I just have a question. All the file cabinets that we're getting rid of, where are they coming from?
Yeah, you should have received in your packet a list of items that we would like to sell either on the auction or to be disposed. Most of those filing cabinets that you see are coming from over at the courthouse. Mm-hmm.
The only reason I was asking is if we're getting rid of records, are we sure that we're following our records rules? And does that apply over the courthouse? I don't know that it does. The state has their own.
State would have their own rules to follow.
That was the only question I had.
Any others? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Item J, action approve the publication of a supplemental budget notice. Have a motion approved.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Comments?
We will once again have to do another supplemental budget, and the process is that we get approval from you first to move forward with putting that together and publishing that notice.
Okay. Any questions? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
And Pat Tingle is here as well for the 9:30. I think we can just go ahead with that. That wasn't anything that was specifically noticed. It was just a time to allow him to be able to arrive.
All right, under scheduled agenda items, item B, 9:30, action to approve the closure of County Road 23 through Aurora for Gala Days, August 7th, 2021 at 7 a.m. to August 8th, 2021 at 2 a.m. Have a motion approved.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Comments? Pat, would you like? Any questions for, any concerns, Brian? On the highway?
Nope.
We've
Bart,
been-
do you know if there's any concerns from the sheriff's office? Okay. Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Thank you. Item number 9, Commission Department Directors Report.
Was the executive summary from project manager Chad Nelson with Henry Carlson for June of what's been going on over there. Quick update there. I had sent out, if you want to grab your calendars quick, I had sent out a doodle poll for looking at a couple of dates in August to set up the Conservation District Tour. From those that had responded to that, it looks like either Monday, August 23rd or Tuesday, August 24th. That are the 2 dates that worked for those that said they could. So
I'll be gone.
You'll
Both
be gone.
of those days.
Okay. Is there another time? I mean, when I talked to John Finnegan with the Conservation District, he basically said, "You tell me when."
Is he wanting full day or half day?
It's a pretty full day. I want to say we take off like 9, 10, and we're not back till 3 or 4 usually. And he just said, give him a day, and he'll make it work. So.
Which are our commission meetings there?
The 3rd and the 17th are the commission meeting days.
Would it be possible to look at the 5th commission? So that 5th Tuesday, since it would kind of normally fall in that
The 31st?
pattern?
That works for me. I don't.
Tuesday, August 31st? Since we don't have a commission meeting and it's that sort of 5th Tuesday scenario?
Pardon me? 31st of August.
August 31st. Tuesday, August 31st.
Fine with me?
Yes? Leanne, you're shaking your head. Yeah, that works for you. Mike?
For me.
Sold.
Mike? Yes? Yeah? Yes? Yes. All right. I will let him know. And then some STIP meetings were coming up. There was that information in the packet. The invitation for the Mandari Monument. They do want folks to RSVP for that. So if you know that you are going, I can RSVP for you.
I am planning to be there.
Okay.
I'm going.
Larry's.
Sunday the 18th. It's a Sunday, July 18th. No? Okay. Angie, Mike, were you planning on being there? It's at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, I believe.
Yep. Larry, you said yes?
Larry? Okay. I will send that back for that.
No.
Stacy, is that an event that it'd be possible because I'll have somebody do a little history thing? Is it possible to video that and put that on our website?
Possibly.
That might be kind of nice.
I'll look into that.
Because then we'd have that history stuff for the future.
A couple other things. I had included the whole list of activities for achievement days in your packet coming up August 2nd through the 5th. The CDI golf registration is also there. I don't know. You guys, you can let me know if you plan to have put a team together again. Just need to let me know that. There is also some information on an upcoming summit in the middle of August, the Summit on Building a Crisis Response Continuum in Our Communities. It was kind of put on by UJS. There's registration link there. If you're interested in that, you'll have to let me know. The other thing that was included in my packet as well was the updated financials for the jail. If you had any questions there, showing overall expense, and then kind of a breakdown of our architect, what we have left to pay on that, as well as Henry Carlson, I don't have this most recent change order included in there, but you can see what has been billed to date, about almost 7.9 million. So we're about halfway already there. We have no issue spending those bond dollars here in 21. And then questions and solutions engineering, that is our commissioning folks, and they've been doing some work, and I know that they're going to get a little more involved here in the upcoming, the next couple of months as that new part of that jail comes online. BKV, only about 72,000 left to pay to them overall on their contract. So if you have any questions there, I can try to answer them there, but that was just sort of a recap of things. And then otherwise, it's just some of those upcoming dates, and I think I've mentioned all of them already. Just a reminder, we do have Safety Week coming up here in a couple weeks in July, and then the picnic, and I think I got everybody signed up for the picnic on the 22nd for the time that you had requested. So, and that's all I have, unless you have any questions for me.
None. State's Attorney's report.
So since we've sat down with Eileen and we've started implementing software document management with all things welfare, and so we're up to speed on that, and she's excited to start managing those documents through the software program that we have at our office, and so it's gone smoothly so far. We've been able to, upload pending files, but then the new applications that have come in, it's pretty seamless transition so far. So how it works is she'll get the applications in for, whether it's utility, medical, other welfare items, and then she uploads that into our document software management program, and then those are then sent up to me, and then I review them, and then I kick them back down based on my review, and so it's handled very similarly to how we operate our documents within the state's attorney's office, and so kind of gives her a sense of organization, and then we are going to start uploading the pending and old files onto that software program, and kind of do what we did with our office, hopefully get rid of some of those filing cabinets because everything's going to be online now. So gone well so far, and I think that's going to kind of be how we're going to manage those documents. And some of my staff, has obviously assisted Eileen in understanding that software program, and so they're kind of learning the ins and outs of welfare as well. So I think it's going according to plan so far. So,
which software program is that, Dan?
Yeah, so the name was Zerker, but then they were bought out by a larger company, Central Square, I believe, and so they're a larger conglomerate of software programs like that. But so like the sheriff's office, police department, university police department, they're all on Zerker, and so that's how we manage police reports. But it's also, they have a prosecution suite that allows us to manage our charging documents as well. And so very secure site. Obviously there's no privacy concerns there because it's all locked down. And so it's a great platform though for document management, and we love it. So
those all of the county liens, no matter what type they are, when a title company is doing a search for liens, they do that through the Register of Deeds office and not through our welfare office.
No, I'm glad you brought that up. So I have visited with Bev, and so we're going to start the process of going through all of those liens and getting letters out, and then I need to work with Sean and I think it's Kim down at Finance. So all of the liens as they're coming into the finance office, and then they're kicked over to the Register of Deeds to attach the lien. I'm going to be privy to that information, and so I'll get all of those names, and then we'll start generating automatic letters that will go out, requesting that they start making payments towards those liens. So
are those liens, when they're being recorded now, whether, I don't know if it's with you or with Bev, whichever way it goes, are they being recorded by Social Security number and name, or just by name?
I think it might be both, but specifically, I don't know. But one of my concerns is, are we going to have up-to-date addresses to send a letter and get in contact with them? I think, that might be a challenge because some of that information is obviously several years old, depending on, the lien. And so, we'll do our best, here. But I think starting out, especially with the newer liens, hopefully we can get, something is better than nothing. So.
Thank you.
That's it.
That's it. Leanne?
On June 18th, I attended Michael, which was very nice. Stacy and her staff, thank you, because I know that's a lot of work to put that together, and it was nice. It was just a nice event. And then on June 24th, I attended the budget hearings with all of you except for Mike, but and we got a lot of work done on that. That's all I have to report. Sorry.
Mr. Barley?
I had it excused. My son-in-law was sworn in Wenatchee, Washington, and my attendance was required. It was either that or resign from the county commission, I was told, so I had no option. June 17th, jail construction meeting. Also, we had another one on July 1st here. Those are going well. I'm pleased. Those meetings are relatively short now, about 15, 20 minutes, and we get through most of the process. So we have a good crew working on those issues over there to make sure everything keeps moving. And then on the 21st, the BCOAC volunteer appreciation dinner was well attended. Dustin left, but thank you. He did a great job. He made a good presentation. It was a lot of fun for those of us that attended that. So that's my report.
Okay. Went to Mike 18th. Also attended a beta meeting on the 23rd. And so that was kind of their year end. They put a lot of nice reports together through COVID and what all went on there and how that was working. I also did attend the RSO appreciation on the 21st. Again, that went really well, and I think they appreciated it, and Dustin did a really good job on that. Had the budget hearings on the 24th, and then on the 28th, we had BCOAC meeting, Brookings Health. So, busy.
One board meeting. The 16th, we had our BEDC. That meeting, we went through a lot of the survey data related to the BEDC board training task force. The 17th, I called in as best I could to the Samara Avenue discussion with the city of Olga. The 24th was, I missed, 21st was Brookings Behavioral Health and Wellness Board meeting. And we discussed the progress on updates to the facility. They've got 3 new offices added by carving up some common spaces and group meetings and boardrooms and all of those other spaces to try and make room and squish more people in there if they can. So that's going well. The 24th was budget hearings with all of you. And then the 28th, we had a additional BEDC board retreat task force meeting, just trying to make sure that we can finalize that board strategic planning retreat coming up here in, I believe, September, October. That's it.
Okay. On the 15th, and also the meeting with Summer Avenue over in Volga. Also had a jail meeting that day also. On the 18th, thank Stacy and her staff for Mike's retirement. It was a good event. On 21st, we had a depreciation for the RSOs out at the BCOAC. Stuck around a little bit later and went in the pistol range and did some shooting. And the volunteers, basically, they really appreciated our attendance at the supper that night. And it was a good event that Dustin put on there. On the 22nd, I stopped out at the 4-H horse show briefly in the morning there and kind of seen what goes on there. I'd never been to that before, and it was quite interesting. And on the 24th, we had the budgets that day. And on the 28th, our advisory board, the BCOAC, went to that. And again, we had a jail expansion on last Thursday. I did have a note. I had a chance to talk to three township supervisors that about our culvert grant program, and I need to get your thoughts on. We talked about having a meeting with all the townships, and I hope we could get First District to have a representative come down and kind of go over what the state program is for the townships to get that inventory started. They thought it'd be a great idea. There's not a lot of them in the field right now. I talked to Dustin. He said I just threw out a Monday night, like at 6 o'clock, host us burgers and brats, and go through it. And we could also, with our county grant program, they didn't, I had 3 of them there, and then they did not know that we had reduced the size restriction down, and I think it'd be great if we could get all those guys together so we could share it to them face to face. I don't know your thoughts on doing this. They were all interested. It is a dry year, and it'd be time to do some of this culvert work and ditch clean out. So if we could set up a day, there's only a few weeks left in July or the first couple weeks in August. That's what you guys would think.
While everybody's looking at their calendars, Larry, I'm just curious if there's would be any value if Dan was willing to talk at that meeting about marijuana to the township supervisors. That might be a helpful thing.
Well, there's some, being we didn't have the weed department meeting, there's, Murray's got a little bit, Dan, and I'm not sure that, Stacy, that committee you're on, have they come up with recommendations on?
The dollar amount that each county is going to get out of that initial first $3 million to conduct the surveys has been determined, and I don't recall the amount that we're getting right off the top of my head. Do you recall that, Lori? Do you remember what? I can't think of it right off the top of my head, but that's been determined. But the second $3 million on how they're going to, what the requirements are and how to disperse that, to get some of these projects underway has not fully been decided yet. Mm-hmm. But and exactly what they want from the inventory hasn't been decided yet either. Right. And that's kind of the biggest thing is what the state wants from those inventories, what information they want from that to determine how they'll allocate dollars for projects moving forward. So they know that this is how they based it on road miles and river stream crossings in the county. That's how they determined each county's allocation of the first $3 million, but they haven't come to a decision fully on what information they want from that inventory.
I just thought at our 10 county meeting when First District gave the presentation on the app for the phone to have them give the same information to these township people so they'd have a tool to use to document this.
Well, one of the things we could do with that first $3 million, whatever allocation was, is we could actually pay and pay for that phone app. First District charges for it because they put it together. So we could offer to buy that program for everybody that wanted it.
My only concern with that phone app is that I want to make sure that the app is kind of putting the cart before the horse, because we don't know what the expectation is yet, what the requirements for the inventory are going to be. So I don't want them to spend I think the app is a good idea, and First District, I'm sure, could probably construct the app to get the information that's needed, but we don't know what that is yet. So I don't want people to go out and do this whole process and spend that time, and then all of a sudden they realize that they didn't do X, Y, and Z. That is going to be part of the requirement. So I want to caution people to not jump ahead too far, because I don't want people to have to do things twice or redo things because they didn't get the right information the first time. Because we don't know what the right information even is yet at this point.
I think the app had the ability to add any of those specifications if it's, you know, the height of the culvert, below grade, above grade, pictures using the phone to get elevations. There was a bunch of other things that he could develop into it as soon as he understood what was going on. I think at this point we can find out. They'll stay on top of it at First District, no doubt. That's what those regulations would be and what's required of the app. So even if there's some changes made afterwards, they would update that in any apps that we would look to provide. There is a possibility that there are all kinds of other engineering companies that are already out offering their services for this, and they don't know any more than we do as far as what the requirements are. But they're looking at that $3 million as an avenue for them to make some money too. So First District is offering this up at a reasonable cost, and I think we could look at trying to use that service if it works.
Well, the reason, I mean, a lot of the townships are starting to do some of this culvert work, and even with our own grant program, get the word out to them too. So
I think the idea to have that meeting is a good one, and oftentimes it takes a burger and a brat to get them to show up. So it becomes a social event along with an educational event. So if you could tie Marty and Dan into it, I think that's appropriate too. First District, if they can't be here in person, would certainly do it by Zoom if that's a possibility out there. But I think they would send somebody down. But we need to get that scheduled pretty quickly to get on everybody's schedule.
Does it make sense to try and do that the first week or two of August so that people have enough time, but then there's still enough season left that doing a culvert replacement project is still even remotely feasible?
Right.
Does that give enough time if we're doing it in August? That's what I was wondering. Because it's dry and they can do a lot, but if we aren't getting them money, then they have to come back in and ask for money, and then we got to go through the whole process. Will they have enough time? Should we try for sooner?
Well, I don't know that we can get consensus on scheduling and dates if you try and go sooner. Just as my worry is that people are sort of scheduled out, and if we try and go at the same time as Achievement Days, you're going to be working with similar families. So if we can go right after Achievement Days, it seems like a good window to give people enough time to get it on their schedule. But
Are they getting the 9th that Monday? Is that what you had threw out Mondays,
maybe.
right?
Either the 26th of July or the 9th of August.
I think either one of those would work if it's not first thing in the morning.
I do know that Dustin had like one event within that time frame. I think that might have been the dog show for the 4-H, but to schedule use of the archery range.
Are you thinking a noon meeting or an evening?
Evening meeting?
Yeah, either of those are fine.
Yeah. Well, if either of those days work, I'll confirm with Dustin to see what's going on out at the OAC. If there's if there's nothing on the 26th, I think the sooner the better. So that's what I'll go with. If there's nothing, and I'll let you know after I visit with him later today.
And that's all I have for report. Item number 12, executive session in accordance with South Dakota Codified Law 1-25-2, parentheses 1 and 4, personnel and contract negotiations. Do I have a motion to enter?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Moving to exec session with after 10-minute break.